The stars blinked silently in the cold vacuum of space. Far beyond Mars, a small satellite drifted alone, forgotten by most, except a few scientists who still believed in old missions. This satellite, named Echo 9, had been launched 50 years ago to search for deep space signals. For decades, it had found nothing but static and silence. Until today. Chapter 1. Something speaks in a dark lab in Geneva. Dr. Aisha Khan, a 29-year-old astrophysicist, stared at the monitor. Her brown eyes didn't blink as the data rolled across the screen. For hours she had been trying to fix a coding error, or so she thought. But now, she wasn't so sure. The satellite had sent back a strange message. It wasn't just random radio noise or coded bursts. It was structured. It had patterns. And most terrifying of all, it was alive. Aisha leaned closer. Her breath caught in her throat. The signal was not in binary. It was in something else. Something no human had ever used to send a message. It was in DNA. Chapter 2. A code older than Earth. Are you sure this is from Echo 9? Asked Dr. Michael Gray, her supervisor, walking in with a coffee. I triple-checked. Timestamp matches, source vector matches. But look, Aisha pointed. This isn't just a wave. It's encoded in a double helix like a strand of DNA. Michael frowned. That's impossible. No, Aisha whispered. It's intelligent. They sent the sequence to the quantum decryption lab. 4 hours later, the results came back. It was a message, hidden in the DNA spiral. Each twist, each bond, formed a kind of language, ancient, complex, but readable, and one phrase repeated again and again. Stop the spark, before they awaken. Chapter 3. The Whisper in the Dark. The team grew quiet as the room filled with tension. Outside, snow fell gently on the city. Inside, fear grew. Aisha isolated one part of the signal, a final fragment that came after the message loop. It was different. It had a voice. The AI translated the waveform into audio. What played made everyone freeze. A voice, cold and soft, speaking in perfect English. Sighed. We failed. You're next. Then silence. Chapter 4. Classified within an hour. Men in black suits arrived. The lab was sealed. Aisha and the others were told this signal was now classified by the Global Space Coalition, a shadowy alliance between Earths. Leading space agencies and militaries. All files were moved to an underground archive. Access was denied. Warnings were given. Aisha was told to forget what she had heard, but she couldn't. That voice echoed in her dreams. Chapter 5. The Hidden Layer. That night, unable to sleep, Aisha sneaked into her backup drive. Unknown to the others, she had saved a copy of the DNA code. She ran it through a genetic simulation software, just to see what would happen. The results shocked her. The DNA wasn't just a message. It was a map. And not a map of stars. It was a map of Earth's own history and future. It showed the formation of continents, the rise of species. And then, near the end, a red flashing symbol. Homo sapiens. She zoomed in. The DNA strand changed. It showed a sudden shift. Something was inserted into the human genome by an outside force. Someone, or something, had interfered. Chapter 6. The First Experiment. Curious and nervous, Aisha used a 3D model to simulate what the inserted gene could do. What she saw made her skin crawl. This alien sequence had one goal: to grow. It spread like wildfire in the model, boosting brain activity, emotional range, memory, and even dreams. In the final stages of the simulation, the DNA changed form. It became non-linear, impossible to read. The human subject in the model became something else. Something not human. The simulation stopped. Text flashed on screen. Genetic stability lost. Species unknown. Chapter 7. Unnatural selection. She now knew one thing. Someone, maybe aliens, had predicted human evolution. but not like scientists did. They had designed it, and they were afraid of what they had made. That line in the message haunted her again. Stop the spark before they awaken. Who was they? Who were we? Had humanity been created as a test? A mistake? A weapon? And now something was changing again. Chapter 8. Memory from the sky. The next morning, Asha's inbox showed a strange email. No sender. No subject. Only one attachment. An image. She opened it. It was a cave painting. Thousands of years old, from South America. A rough drawing showed 3 figures. One tall and glowing, one small and human-looking, and the third, a monster of darkness. Above them, a symbol, the same DNA spiral from the alien message, and beside it, 3 words written in Latin, Ignis Humanum Est, the fire is human. Chapter 9. Shadows watching. 2 days later, she was followed. Men in black cars watched her apartment. Her internet was cut. Her phone stopped working, but she wasn't alone. That evening, a man appeared at her door. He wore an old suit, had tired eyes, and spoke softly. I used to work on Echo 9, he said. 20 years ago. Who are you? Someone who also didn't forget. He handed her a small hard drive. Keep this safe. And remember, the signal isn't a warning to. Uaziziyo looked up, confused. Then who's it for? He looked around and whispered, It's a warning about us. Chapter 10. The secret below. Using the drive, Asisha opened a new file. It had encrypted star maps, ancient language translations, and a voice log from the original satellite team. She played it. The recording was shaky, full of static. A man's voice cried out, It's not from deep space. It's from below the crust. From under Earth itself. The log ended. Asho sat in silence. The signal hadn't come from another planet. It had come from within Earth. Something ancient, buried deep, had sent that message into space. Not to call for help, but to warn the stars. To tell them they're rising. And now the stars had answered. Final scene. The eyes opened back in Geneva. The snow fell harder. Isha stared at the sky. For the first time, she felt like something out there was staring back. She walked into her apartment. The lights flickered. Her laptop turned on by itself. The alien message played again, but this time, it changed. A new line appeared on screen. In simple text, glowing green. If you read this, it's already too late. A low hum filled the room. Her bookshelf shook. The walls vibrad. And from her speakers, the same cold voice whispered once more, We failed. You're next. Chapter 1. A hidden message beneath the ice. The cold winds of Antarctica howled across a white, lifeless desert. Deep beneath the ice, something old, something forgotten, was waking up. After a sharp increase in global temperatures, glaciers in East Antarctica began to melt faster than predicted. Scientists thought it was due to climate change, but they were wrong. A new signal was detected, coming from under the ice. It was faint, almost like a heartbeat, and it was calling out. The Global Science Coalition sent a team. Among them was Dr. Ilara Voss, an expert in alien languages. She had been following Aisha Khan's report in secret and believed it was connected. The team set up camp. What they found under the melting ice shocked everyone. Chapter 2. The door in the glacier buried under 600 meters of ice. They found a strange structure, metallic, circular, and humming with a low sound. It was not made by humans. Its walls were smooth, black, and cold, yet it emitted no heat, even when exposed to sunlight. Dr. Ilara placed her hand on the surface. It rippled like water. Suddenly, the door opened. Behind it, a dark tunnel led down into the earth. The team hesitated, but curiosity was stronger than fear. They entered. Chapter 3. The Forgotten Hall. The tunnel led them to a massive underground chamber. Its size was like a cathedral, high ceilings, glowing walls, and a floor that reflected the stars. Strange symbols covered every surface. Some glowed. Some moved. As the team explored, they found holographic projections on the walls. Beings of light, tall and graceful, walked across ancient fields. Their hands shaped planets. Their eyes watched stars. They were not gods. They were architects, and they were watching something grow on Earth. Chapter 4. The observers the hologram showed. Early Earth, volcanoes, oceans, primitive life. Then it zoomed in. Humans. The architects were studying early humans like a scientist studies ants. They recorded every movement, every decision. But something about humans bothered them. A new hologram showed one of the aliens speaking to others. Its voice was deep and full of sorrow. A translation appeared on the wall. They evolve too quickly. They adapt to chaos. If left alone, they will surpass us. Another voice replied, then we must change them, guide them, or end them. Alara froze. This was not a peaceful visit from aliens. It was interference. Chapter 5. The Genetic Touch. The next room showed something more disturbing. A giant projection of human DNA. The architects pointed at a specific location in the spiral, the same location Aisha had discovered in Part 1. A bright light struck that spot in the hologram, and it began to change. They had inserted something. One architect raised a hand and spoke, "Give them potential, but limit their understanding." Another added, "Let them believe they are alone. Let them believe they are free." The team watching the hologram was silent. This was the truth behind evolution. Humans weren't only shaped by nature. They were touched by design. Chapter 6. The memory wall. In the final chamber, they found a wall of symbols, glowing softly, moving slowly. Alara moved closer. The wall responded to her presence and lit up. Suddenly, the team's helmets filled with images, not from the wall, but from their own minds. Each person saw something different. Alara saw herself as a child, looking up at a night sky. But the stars were moving, shifting, forming shapes. Watching her. Others saw flashes of war, fire, machines, and darkness. One soldier dropped his weapon and screamed, "They're inside my head." The wall showed a final symbol, a spiral wrapped in fire. The spark cannot be contained. Chapter 7. The one who resisted. As the team tried to leave, one more hologram activated. It showed a moment from thousands of years ago. A human standing in front of the architects. But this human was not afraid. He stared back at them, unblinking. Architects tried to control his mind. It didn't work. The human moved forward, slowly, calmly, and placed a hand on one of the alien elders. The hologram flashed red. The alien screamed in pain and disintegrated into light. The wall showed one last phrase: "They cannot be ruled, only respected or destroyed." Chapter 8. The collapse. The ancient structure began to shake. The lights flickered. Alarms sounded from nowhere. The floor cracked. The building had been watching them, and now it knew they had seen too much. Team ran. The door behind them began to seal. One soldier, James Vega, stayed back to hold it open. He shouted, "Go!" Alara looked back. As the door closed, she saw James staring into the dark tunnel. Something stepped out of the shadows toward him, tall, thin, glowing eyes. Then the door shut completely. James was gone. Chapter 9. No evidence back. At the surface, the remaining team contacted HQ. But when they tried to send data, nothing worked. Their cameras were wiped. The audio was corrupted. The holograms were gone. Only Alara had one thing left, a small engraved stone she picked up secretly. It showed a spiral with a single word carved below: "Rise." Later, military agents arrived and erased all traces of the site. They told the team to go home. To forget. Chapter 10. 2 paths back in her apartment. Alara sat with the stone in her hand. She played the audio log again, what little was left. James's voice echoed faintly. "It's not just history. It's a warning and a challenge. She sent a message to Isha Khan. Subject, they're real. Attached, a photo of the spiral symbol. Aisha responded within minutes. Then we need to talk. Before they decide to stop us. Final scene. The Elder's eyes far away, on a distant planet covered in red storms. A group of ancient beings gathered in a circle. They were the last of the architects. A glowing portal showed Earth. One of them spoke. The seal is broken. The humans have seen. Another replied. They're awakening. We must act. The youngest elder, with deep golden eyes, stared into the portal. We tried to guide them. We tried to shape them. But now, he paused. Now we must decide. Do we destroy them or ask for mercy? The portal zoomed in on Alara and Asiya, two women staring at the stars, unaware that the architects were watching. Screen fades to black. A new phrase appears on screen. They studied us, they touched us, but now we remember. Chapter 1. The Dream in a Small Town in Northern Canada. A 16-year-old boy named Kai Rivers sat up in bed, sweating and shaking. He had seen it again. In his dream, the stars were falling, turning into rivers of light. A huge red planet cracked open, and from inside came voices. Not in words, but feelings, anger, warning, and something deeper. He looked out the window. The stars were still there, quiet and calm. But he knew something had changed. Chapter 2. The message spreads across the world. Strange reports began to appear. Children speaking unknown words in their sleep. Teenagers drawing complex symbols they had never seen before. People waking up with memories they didn't own. Memories of skies that had 3 moons, or oceans that moved like glass dot at the Geneva Science Facility. Dr. Aisha Khan stared at her screen. She was comparing human DNA from people who reported the dreams with regular samples. She saw something terrifying. A specific DNA sequence. One she had seen in the alien message was waking up. She called Alara Voss. It's real. Aisha said. The uplift code is active. Chapter 3. Mutation in Silent Sky sat alone in school. His eyes were changing, not in color, but in perception. He could see sound. He could hear emotions. When his teacher lied about something, Kai heard the word false ringing in the air like a broken bell. He didn't understand it, but he couldn't stop it either. He stopped talking to others. He stopped sleeping, and then one day, in the middle of class, he stood up and said clearly, "They are watching us from the clouds." Then he collapsed. Chapter 4. The Alliance in a private UN meeting. Global leaders were shown the truth. Aisha presented the updated DNA research. It confirmed that millions of people were showing signs of genetic activation, all in the same part of the genome. All traced back to the alien modification seen in Antarctica. General Holtz of the European Defense Force leaned forward. They becoming dangerous? No, Aisha replied. They're becoming more. But more what? She didn't answer. Because she didn't know. Chapter 5. The spark effect. Alara Voss traveled to India to meet a girl who had drawn perfect maps of galaxies. Galaxies only seen through the James Webb telescope. The girl was 5 years old. She didn't speak. But when Alara showed her the ancient spiral symbol from the Antarctica ruins, the girl reached out and whispered, "It's in all of us. The fire." The girl then placed her hand on Alara's chest and said softly, "You have it too, but it's not awake yet." Alara didn't sleep that night. Chapter 6. Kai returns. Kai woke up in a hospital 3 days later. Doctors couldn't explain what happened. His brain scans showed increased activity to 300%, higher than average during sleep. But that wasn't the real shock. He could now remember everything, every dream, every thought, every detail of every day since he was born. All perfectly. He wrote down star charts, equations, and even alien symbols without understanding how. When asked how he knew, he said. They're not memories. They're instructions. Chapter 7. The Orcafer Beyond Earth. Inside the cloaked ship hiding behind Saturn's rings, the alien beings, the Archai, watched Earth closely. They were ancient. Older than Earth's sun, one of the elders spoke. The code has begun to awaken. The humans are changing. Another replied, it is our design. But it's no longer under control. A younger Orcai named Driel stepped forward. We uplifted them to prepare them for peace, not war. An elder answered coldly. Then why do I see fire in their dreams? Driel turned away. He knew the truth. They hadn't made humans stronger. They had made the one thing they feared most: unpredictable intelligence. Chapter 8. Project Fracture on Earth. Secret labs began working on something called Project Fracture, using the uplift code. They wanted to create enhanced humans, smarter, faster, better, but the experiments kept failing. The DNA didn't like being forced. It resisted. One test subject, a soldier named Lonnie, suddenly began speaking in two voices, saying, "You cannot shape what is already rising." Then she vanished. Not ran away. Vanished, as if space itself rejected her. Asha saw the footage and felt cold fear. This wasn't just evolution. It was something else. Chapter 9. The visitor Kai sat alone in his hospital room when the lights began to flicker. The window darkened. A shape appeared outside. Floating. It wasn't human. It passed through the glass without breaking it. Tall, thin, with golden skin and burning eyes. It was one of the Archai. Kai didn't move. He wasn't afraid. The being looked at him, then bowed slightly. You were not meant to wake this early. Kai replied. Then why am I awake? The Archai didn't answer. Instead, it placed a hand on Kai's forehead. Be careful. The spark burns more than it lights. Then it vanished. The machines in the room all exploded. Chapter 10. Contact begins. Aisha and Ilara met in a secure lab. Reviewing Kai's brain scans and his strange drawings, they noticed a new pattern. His art was building a machine. Piece by piece, page by page. Without knowing it, he was designing something. They fed the design into a 3D model. It formed what looked like a portal, not a weapon, not a machine, but a key. Shisha's hand shook. He's building a way to reach them. Or they're using him, Ilara whispered. Just then, all the screens in the lab lit up on their own. A voice played. Not a human voice. It said, the uplift is not your gift. It is your trial. The screens turned black. Final scene. The ascendant in the sky above Earth, far beyond any telescope's reach. A second Orcai ship uncloaked. Inside, the elders gathered. One said, they are changing faster than predicted. Another added, if the uplift completes, they may reach beyond even us. Then the leader spoke. We gave them the fire, but they made it wild. They stared at Earth. Do we end them, or witness the birth of something greater? Far below, Kai opened his eyes, glowing now like stars, and whispered, I remember who we were and who we can become. Screen fades to black. Final message appears. The uplift is real. The trial has begun. Chapter 1. The division begins. A long, long time ago, even before Earth had its first forests, the Orcai gathered in the Hall of Stars, their great council chamber floating in deep space. They stood tall and silent, their skin shimmering like flowing gold. They had no mouths. They spoke through light and thoughts. For 1,000 generations, they had watched countless worlds rise and fall, but Earth was different. The Orcai had seen humans grow, too fast, too chaotic, too creative. Some were afraid. One elder, Varun, stepped forward. If we do not interfere, they will one day rival us. Another, younger one, Drow, replied, and if we crush them too soon, we kill what could become greater than us. The council fell silent. This was the moment they would never forget, and always regret. Chapter 2. The vote the council argued for centuries, in the way only immortal beings could. Some believed in the path of control, limit human growth, slow their mind, change their DNA. Others believed in the path of trust, watch and wait. Let humans evolve on their own. In the end, they compromised. They inserted the uplift code, not as a gift, but as a chain. It would guide, limit, and hide human potential until they were ready. But no one truly agreed on what ready meant. Via rune warned, this fire will not stay in the lantern. They will burn through it. But the vote was cast, and so began the first mistake. Chapter 3. Back on Earth in a hidden lab in Kenya, Isiah and Alara studied the key Kai had drawn. They had built a small part of it, and when they activated it, space around them began to ripple. It wasn't a portal. It was a window. Through it, they saw something no human had ever seen before. The Hall of Stars. Dozens of Orkai stood in silence. One of them turned and looked directly at them. Alara stepped back. They saw us. The window closed. And now they knew. Chapter 4. The council reacts inside the Hall of Stars. The elders gathered in panic. The humans have opened the gate, one said. They are not ready. We are the fools who gave them the key. Drawl spoke calmly. No. They were always going to find it, because deep inside, they remember. Haruna's voice was sharper. Then the time has come. The code must be burned. Their minds must be reset, and the uplift. The elders looked at one another. The choice was back. Do they destroy the humans now, or watch what they become? Chapter 5. A world changing on Earth. Reports came flooding in. A boy in Brazil levitated during sleep. A woman in Tokyo could hear thoughts. A man in Nigeria began speaking an ancient alien dialect without ever hearing it before. Humanity was changing, and fast. Secret UN team called Ghost Zero was formed to track these new humans, called the Touched. Some were peaceful. Others were not. One touched girl in Germany caused all electronics in a 5-mile radius to fail when she screamed. Planes fell from the sky. Fears spread like wildfire. Governments began talking about containment. A new term was born, uplift syndrome. Chapter 6. A warning. Kai received another visit, not a dream this time, while sitting on a hill near his town. A strange tear appeared in the air, like water bending. Out stepped Drawl. The alien didn't threaten him. He sat beside him like a teacher. You must understand, Kai, he said. What is waking inside you is not new, it's old. It's a memory passed down from stars. Kai asked, why me? Drawl looked up. You were born with the uplift. Active, you are one of the anchors. Your mind holds the code. And soon, others like you will come. Then Drawl gave him something, a crystal that glowed with a blue flame. If they come to erase you, this will protect only your mind, not your body. Then he was gone. Chapter 7. Divide on Earth. Alara Voss was brought to a military base in Iceland. She was shown something terrible. 2 touched teenagers had been captured. They were scared, confused, and dangerous. One could bend metal with his thoughts. The other had turned invisible for 72 hours. Instead of helping them, the military planned to dissect them. Alara was horrified. They are not threats, they are us, just ahead of us. But General Holtz disagreed. If we don't control this, the next war won't be with nations, it'll be with gods. Chapter 8. The Shadow Protocol. Secretly, a new global plan was put into motion. The Shadow Protocol. Its goal: destroy all who show signs of uplift activation. Satellites were launched. Drones were deployed. But something went wrong. A strike team sent to eliminate a touched woman in Over deployed. But something went wrong. A strike team sent to eliminate a touched woman in a touched woman in Crohn's were deployed. But something went wrong. Peru disappeared, completely. No signals, no bodies, just gone. One drone recorded the last 5 seconds. A bright light, a loud sound, and then nothing. Just before the feed ended, a voice was heard. You were warned. You touched what should have remained sacred. Chapter 9. The inner conflict back in the Hall of Stars. The council voted again. This time, the result was split. Half wanted to send a cleansing wave, a light that would erase the uplift code from every human brain. The other half, led by Drawl, refused. We cannot destroy what we began. We must give them a chance to rise. But Varun was done with waiting. In secret, he activated a purge device, a weapon hidden inside Earth's moon since ancient times. A slow pulse began spreading through the planet's magnetic field, undetectable, but powerful. Its goal: shut down the uplift. Forever. Chapter 10. The awakening. Kai began to scream. The crystal Drawl gave him shattered. He collapsed on the ground, shaking. Blood dripped from his nose. His DNA was fighting something. The purge. Aisha and Alara rushed to him. He's under attack. Aisha shouted. Elar placed a hand on his chest and whispered the words she saw in Antarctica. The same words carved on the stone. We rise, even when broken. Suddenly, Kai opened his eyes. They glowed bright white. He stood and spoke in a voice that was his and not his. The uplift was not your right to give, and it is not yours to take. Lightning cracked the sky above them. A global signal burst from Kai's body. Every touched person on Earth felt it. The uplift code was now permanent. No more hiding. Final scene. The council shattered inside the Hall of Stars. The council shook as alarms rang. Drawl smiled faintly. They're not just awake now. They're free, Varun growled. You've doomed us all, Drawl whispered back. No. We just witnessed the birth of a new people. On Earth, millions of humans looked at the sky. The dreams stopped. Memories returned, and the fire inside them burned brighter than ever. Final screen fades to black. The mistake has been made. Now comes the price. Or the purpose. Chapter 1. Division. The world had changed overnight. Every touched, the humans with uplift activation had received Kai's signal. The energy moved through them like fire through dry grass. Some were healed from illness. Others could hear voices from miles away. A few even started to control light, time, and gravity in small ways. The world didn't celebrate. It panicked. Countries closed borders. Armies were deployed. News channels screamed one word over and over again: mutation. But it wasn't a mutation. It was evolution. And not everyone wanted it. Chapter 2. The Burners. In a desert bunker in Nevada, a group of military scientists developed a weapon called the Burner. It was designed to clean uplifted DNA, to erase the code from inside the body without killing the host. But it had a side effect. People who were hit by the burner forgot everything about their abilities. They also forgot pieces of themselves: family, language, dreams, sometimes even their own name. The military called it acceptable damage, but others called it a crime against the mind. Chapter 3. The Memory Resistance. In a hidden base beneath old ruins in Egypt, Ilara Voss and Aisha Khan created a network called the Memory Resistance. Their goal: protect the uplifted, teach them control, and help them survive. Kai had become their symbol, the first true anchor. He now remembered not only his own life, but fragments from other lives, maybe even from past worlds. Each night, he dreamed of cities floating in the sky, languages spoken by stars, and a tower that reached into space. A tower he had never seen, but knew he would one day build. Chapter 4. The Hunt Begins. Governments launched full operations. In London, a touched boy was chased for 6 hours through tunnels until he disappeared into thin air. In Korea, a girl shut down all tech in her city by walking through it. In Argentina, an entire town rose 10 feet off the ground for 7 minutes, then dropped. People were scared. The UN called for order. A new global task force was created. Black HALO, their mission: find every touched, wipe their memories, burn the code. Some cheered them, some ran from them, some fought back. Chapter 5. Kai's mission. Kai stood before 30 touched teenagers in a hidden forest camp. They looked to him for answers. He said quietly, "They fear what they don't understand. But we aren't here to destroy. We're here to show them a better future." One boy, angry and shaking, asked, "Then why are they trying to erase us?" Kai didn't have a perfect answer. Because they still think power means danger. We have to prove them wrong, or we become what they fear. He handed the boy a piece of crystal, a memory shard. Hold on to your mind. That's your true weapon. Chapter 6. Varun's returning the Hall of Stars. Varun had not remained silent. He built something old, something forbidden by the Orkai for eons. A mind reaver. It was not a weapon of fire, but of thought. The reaver could enter the mind of any uplifted and rewrite their memory, their soul, their identity. He sent it toward Earth. Unseen. It began with whispers. A touched girl in Mexico forgot her family. A man in Moscow couldn't remember sunlight. Slowly, silently, it spread. Not to kill. To erase. Chapter 7. The Whisper War. Isia discovered the problem first. She noticed strange gaps in conversations, memory loops, disconnected names. Then she found a pattern. The reaver wasn't just erasing. It was rewriting. Some uplifted began calling themselves empty. They no longer remembered being human, or even being afraid. They only wanted to spread the silence. They became the hollowed dot, and they were growing. Chapter 8. The Mind Bastion. To fight the reaver, Kai had to go deeper. With Alara's help, he created a mental fortress, a mind bastion, inside his thoughts. It wasn't made of walls or weapons, but of memories. His mother's smile, the sound of rain on the roof, the feeling of fear the first time he dreamed. He taught others to build their own. Each touched was told, "Your memories are your armor. They make you real. Don't let them steal that." As the reaver came closer, many minds resisted, but not all. Chapter 9. The betrayal inside the resistance. Someone broke. A man named Tomas, once uplifted, had lost his sister to Black Halo. Blamed Kai. "You said peace, but we're at war." He secretly gave coordinates of the camp to a strike team. The attack came at night. Explosions, screams, fire. Dozens of uplifted were caught and burned. Some forgot who they were, some didn't even know they had powers at all. When Kai found Tomas, he didn't fight him. He said, "You didn't betray me. You betrayed yourself," and walked away. Chapter 10. The Turning Point. Just when things seemed darkest, something unexpected happened. A Black Halo soldier, a young woman named Saren Vale, was injured during a mission. A touched child healed her, not with medicine, but with memory. He gave her back a forgotten dream of her mother. Reading to her under a tree, Saren began to cry. She dropped her weapon. "They're not the enemy," she said. "They're what comes next." She switched sides. Others followed. For the first time, the world paused. And listened. Final scene. A message to the world. Kai stood before a hidden camera. The signal would go out across all frequencies. He looked tired. "But calm." He said, "I'm not your enemy. I'm your mirror. What you fear in me is what you don't yet understand in yourself. The uplift is not a war. It's a choice. Remember who you are. Hold on to it. Because forgetting is how we lose everything." As the message spread, a single question filled every screen. Will you fight for the past, or remember your future? Fade to black. Chapter 1. Forgotten Blueprint. In the deep jungles of Peru, Kai stood at the edge of a strange clearing. The trees were bent in a perfect circle, their leaves humming in soft patterns. In his dreams, he had seen this place before. So had thousands of other uplifted. They called it the pulse site. It was where the energy first touched the earth, where the Archi had buried something long ago. A tower, not built from metal. Not built by hands, but from thought. Now it was calling to them, and they had begun to remember how to build it. Chapter 2. The Tower Protocol. Inside a lab in Antarctica, Ilara Voss and Aisha Khan unlocked the final layer of the Archi relic. It projected blueprints, not in 2D, not on screens, but directly into their minds. A voice echoed from it. The Star Tower is the anchor between worlds. Once completed, it awakens the bridge. The builders must not forget who they are, or the tower will fall. The Archi hadn't just observed humanity, they had prepared it. And now, the Tower Protocol had activated. Time was short. The race to complete the tower had begun. Chapter 3. The Call of the Uplifted. Across the world, uplifted people began traveling, walking, flying, teleporting toward locations that made no sense. To others, they weren't told where to go. They felt it. Some went to deserts. Others to oceans. Some stood in caves for days. Then structures began forming, floating stones, rotating, crystal blocks, columns of pure sound rising from the earth. Each was a piece of the final tower. It would not rise in one place, it would rise everywhere, and then come together. Chapter 4. Resistance. From above in the Hall of Stars, the Archi Council met again. Varun stood furious. They are rebuilding the bridge. Do you not see? This is no longer evolution. This is rebellion. Dryal calmly replied. It is fulfillment. We planted the seed, now it grows. But Varun had already begun something darker. A fleet, ships silent and black, ready to descend. Through invisible paths in space. They were not here to watch anymore. They were here to end it. The Archi were coming. Chapter 5. The UN decision. Back on Earth, the world's leaders had met in secret. They had a choice. Join the uplifted and help complete the tower, or destroy all sites with missiles before the structures could finish. Many were afraid. They remembered the girl in Germany, the boy in Brazil, the hollowed ones. But one woman, Saren Vale, stood up and said, "We feared them, but they never attacked first. They're not gods. They're not monsters. They're us." The vote was tight, but the world chose pause over panic. For now. Chapter 6. Kai ascends at the heart of the largest tower site. In Peru, Kai stood inside a growing spire of crystalline light. His body was changing. His voice echoed. Even in silence, his memories stretched across time, not just his life, but lives before him. He saw cities on Mars, civilizations under Saturn's moons, the fall of great Orchi temples. He saw humans being watched, protected, manipulated. He whispered, "We were never alone." And then, something ancient inside him clicked, a memory not just of knowledge, but of power. Chapter 7. The tower awakens as all tower sites aligned across the globe. A beam of pure white light burst from each one. They shot into the sky, not up into space. But into somewhere else. The towers weren't gateways to planets. They were doors to the Archi archive, the mind database of 1 billion years of knowledge. Only the uplifted could open it. Only those who had suffered, grown, and remembered. A voice boomed from the sky. Anchor established. Transfer complete. Humanity has touched the archive. The earth shook, but did not break. Chapter 8. The first strike. These Archi ships arrived, not with war. With silence. They hovered above major tower sites, blocking the beams, and then they dropped silence fields, areas where uplifted lost their abilities. Kai collapsed. So did hundreds of others. Draal appeared inside the tower with Kai. "You must break the silence. You are not alone anymore." He placed his hand on Kai's chest. A mark appeared, glowing white, shaped like the first Orkai symbol. Kai's eyes opened, the mark pulsed, and then the towers pushed back. Chapter 9. The tower defends each site now activated its defense. Protocol. Not weapons. Memory shields. People within range began to glow, not from power, but from connection. They remembered everything. Every moment of fear, love, pain. Laughter. The towers fed on memory. And with it became alive. One Orkai ship tried to fire. Its own system shut down. Voice inside the ship whispered, "You cannot erase what has already been lived." The fleet retreated, not destroyed. Defeated by memory. Chapter 10. Earth reborn. The towers reached final phase. All beams connected into one point in the sky. A single, brilliant line shot into the stars, and then split, creating a web across space. It was a message. We are awake. We remember. We rise. The tower had become part of Earth's core. Now. It would never leave. Kai stood at the top of the central spire. He turned to the world. This is not the end of humanity. It's the beginning of something more. Final scene. The Orkai decision back in the Hall of Stars. The council stood quiet. For the first time in ages. They did not vote. They bowed. Dral stepped forward and said, "The children we feared are now the future we need." Varun, defeated but proud, whispered, "Let the old light fade, and let their fire burn." Fade to black. The tower stands. The war is over, but the real journey has just begun. Chapter 1. The signal echoes. 2 weeks had passed since the towers had fully awakened. Across the world, silence fell like snow, soft, heavy, and strange. No storms. No war. No news. Only one thing happened. A sound echoed from the sky. It was not a voice. It was a memory, shared by all, uplifted at the same time. A single image. A door of stars. Hanging in empty space. Kai stood on the tower's peak in Peru. His eyes closed. He whispered, "It's not over. It's calling us." And it was. The bridge was opening. Chapter 2. The rift forms in Antarctica, where the last piece of the global tower system was built. The air began to shimmer. Scientists stared as a circular tear opened in space above the ice. A rift. It spun slowly, like a calm whirlpool made of starlight and darkness. Aisha Khan monitored energy readings. They were off the scale. "It's not just a portal," she said. "It's a reflection. Something's on the other side." And then, for a second, they saw it. A city, floating in black space. Not human, not Orkai, something older. And it had seen them. Chapter 3. The Orkai's warning in the Hall of Stars. The Orca Council reacted. Dryle spoke first. "The archive bridge is open. We must send a message." But Varun, once their greatest enemy, now stood beside him. His voice was sharp. "Do not make contact. The ones beyond that door are not builders. They are harvesters." He looked at Earth through a projection. "They consume evolving species. Then they erase the record of their rise." Dral nodded. "They are called the Verthel, and they are the reason we hid the bridge for so long." The silence returned. Earth was in danger again. Chapter 4. The first contact. The rift pulsed. And then something stepped through. It looked like a man, but its body flickered like static. Its face was empty. It spoke in perfect English, directly into human minds. "You are not ready, but you are seen. The tower you built echoes too loudly. Now we come." Then it vanished. Across the planet, technology glitched. Clouds spun unnaturally. Animals screamed and hid. And in some places, the air cracked. The Verthal had made contact, and they were already inside Earth's atmosphere. Chapter 5. The Choice Kai met with Earth's leaders, those who had once feared him. This time, they asked for his help. "What do we do now?" The president of the Global Council asked. Kai looked at the sky. We have two choices. We shut down the tower and hide. Or we finish what we started and walk through the bridge. Many hesitated. One general said, if we walk through, we might not come back. Kai replied, if we don't, we might not have a home left to come back to. The decision was made. The mission would begin. Chapter 6. The Uplifted Team. A team of 9 uplifted humans was selected to pass through the rift. Each one had different abilities. Kai, Anchor and Memory Channel Aisha, Code Seer and Signal. Mapper Nico, Gravity Bender Lena, Sound Architect Saren Vale, Combat Specialist Tariq, Emotional. Translator Alara Voss, Ancient Language Decoder Zara, Astral Walker Rain, Element Splitter. Together, they were called the Bridge Walker. She would enter the unknown and find out who was waiting. Chapter 7. Through the rift at midnight. Under the glowing towers, the rift expanded like a soft heartbeat. One by one, the bridge walkers stepped through. There was no pain. Only silence. And then, stars. Earths. Stars. Strange ones, blue suns, broken moons. Dead planets. And in the distance, a city in the shape of a spiral. It floated in pure vacuum. Yet they could breathe. Something was holding them together, and that something was watching. Chapter 8. The Spiral Throne. The team entered the city. There were no guards, no doors, only windows showing other civilizations rising. And then, falling. Lena whispered, they're watching timelines, like memories. In the center of the spiral city was a throne of light, and seated on it was a being, tall, thin, made of shifting metal and flame. Its voice filled the city. We are the Verthal. We saw your seed long ago. You were not meant to reach the bridge, but now you must be judged. Show us your truth. Chapter 9. The Trial of Memory. The city transformed into 9 chambers, one for each bridge walker. Each had to face a test, not of strength, but of memory. Kai was shown his past, his first fear, his greatest failure. He had to accept it, not erase it. Saren saw every life she had taken as a soldier. Zara floated through the minds of her parents, seeing pain she never knew. Each passed, but barely. Then they returned to the center. The Verthal being stood again. You carry pain, but also purpose. And that we do not understand. Chapter 10. The Offer. The Verthal made a final offer. Join us, give us your tower, your memory, your archive. We will protect it, preserve it. But your species must not evolve further. That is the price. Kai looked around at his team. Then he looked up at Earth, still visible through a window in space. He said only one word. No. The Verthal shifted. Then we will test your world. The spiral city began to collapse. The rift began to close, and the team ran. Final scene. Earth prepares. The bridgewalkers returned just in time. Kai stood at the base of the tower. He told the world the truth. There are others out there. Some want peace, some want silence, but the tower is ours. We remember who we are. He raised his hand. The sky cracked again, but this time, it didn't break. It opened. A second rift formed, smaller, stable, and inside it was not a threat. It was another civilization, waving. The stars weren't all enemies. Some were waiting for a friend. To be continued in Part 8, The Cosmic Reckoning. Chapter 1, The Warning. A deep vibration shook the tower's foundation. It wasn't an earthquake. It was a signal. The Thal had returned. Their voice echoed in every major city on Earth, not in sound, but inside people's thoughts. We warned you. You refused unity. Now we will cleanse the archive before it spreads. The skies darkened. All across the planet, dimensional cracks began to appear. Through them, Verthal shades poured out, beings of flickering static and memory dust. They didn't kill, they erased. And the final war had begun. Chapter 2, the memory. Shield inside the Mind Bastion. A hidden base inside the main tower. Alara, Asha, and Saren prepared Earth's defense. They activated the memory shield, a global network powered by the uplifted dot. It didn't fire lasers. It protected identity. People began remembering who they truly were. Regrets they buried, dreams they forgot, loves they lost. And in those memories, they found strength. Ashu said, "We don't fight with weapons. We fight with truth." The Verthal began to weaken, but they weren't done. They had one final weapon. Chapter 3, The Mirror in Low Orbit. The Verthal unveiled a new rift. From it, they pulled something horrifying, a copy of Earth, but wrong. A mirror Earth where humanity never evolved, only consumed, destroyed, and burned itself out. They called it What You Could Have Been. Then they pushed it toward the real Earth. If the two touched, the archive would collapse. All knowledge would merge. And Earth's identity would vanish forever. Kai knew what had to be done. Chapter 4, The Final Uplift. Kai climbed to the top of the main tower. His mark, the Orca symbol, burned bright on his chest. He called out to every uplifted across the planet. This is the moment. The archive is not a place, it's us. Our memories, our truth. Stand with me now. Anchor Earth. Defend who we are. Across every country, the uplifted responded. They linked minds. They shared memories. And then the tower transformed. It grew taller. Brighter. Alive. The final uplift had begun. Chapter 5, The Battle of Minds. The Verthal sent their full force. Reality cracked in places. Entire cities were pulled into memory traps, loops of past pain and fear, but the uplifted fought back. Nico bent gravity to protect collapsing buildings. Zara walked between dimensions to rescue trapped children. Saren led human armies using only telepathic commands. And Kai faced the mirror. Inside it, he saw a version of himself. Broken, bitter, angry. It said, "You are not strong enough. You still fear who you are." Kai replied, "I remember everything. Even the pain. Especially the pain." And with that, the mirror shattered. Chapter 6, The Anchor Strike. To stop the mirror Earth, the tower needed to become an anchor, not just in thought, but in space. Elara. And Aisha rerouted the archive's energy into the tower's core. The entire planet shook, oceans calmed. Skies cleared. The tower became solid light, connecting every human's memory into a single pulse. Then it fired. A beam of pure memory struck the mirror Earth. Not to destroy it, but to show it the truth. The copy froze, and then dissolved. Not in flames, but in peace. It had accepted the truth. Earth had chosen hope. Chapter 7, The Last Stand. But the Verthal weren't finished. Their leader descended. The being from the spiral throne. Its voice boomed across Earth. "You deny control. You choose chaos, then be forgotten." He raised a hand. The archive began to unravel. Memories slipped. People screamed. Even Kai fell to his knees. But then a single light rose from the crowd. A child, unaffected. She walked to the tower. And touched it. "I'm not afraid of remembering." The tower pulsed. The archive rebuilt itself in seconds. And the Verthal faded into dust. Chapter 8, A New Alliance. After the battle, silence returned. But it wasn't fear this time. It was peace. Other rifts opened. Not invasions. Invitations. Civilizations. Long hidden survivors of the Verthal reached out. Some came in ships. Others in thought. They welcomed Earth as equal. Not a colony. Not a threat, but a new voice among the stars. The tower stood tall. Unshaken. Chapter 9, The Council of Flame. The Orkai returned, not to lead. To listen. Drawl met with Kai on the highest platform of the tower. "You did what we could not," Drawl said. "You faced the mirror and chose to grow. The archive is safe. but more will come. Kai nodded. Then we'll be ready. The Orkai offered Earth a seat in the Council of Flame. A group of awakened worlds who remembered their pasts and helped others rise. Kai declined. We'll make our own council, our own way. But we'll walk with you. Chapter 10. A World. Remembered years passed. The tower remained. Children learned about the uplift like history, not magic. Not fiction. Truth. Uplifted worked side by side with the non-uplifted, engineers, artists, dreamers. And the tower continued to grow. One layer at a time, each memory, each story, each truth. Added a brick to the future. Earth had not just survived the reckoning. God had become the guidepost for others. Final scene. Kai's last message old, now Kavlau. Kai stood once more atop the tower, overlooking a planet full of light. He recorded one final message for the stars. We were told we would forget, that we would fall, that we would become dangerous. But we remembered, we learned, we changed. We are not perfect, but we are rising, he smiled. To any who hear this, you are not alone. And you are more than what they told. You, hold on to your memory. It will lead you home. Fade to stars. End.